Hello, this is multijamesbondfan here, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about Linkin Park, one of my favorite bands. Their first album I ever heard was their first album, Hybrid Theory, and I think that's a great album, although you may be surprised where I actually rank it, because I just like other albums that they have more. And this is going to be a ranking video right now. Okay, now this one here, this is my least favorite. The latest one from 2017, One More Light. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm trying to see if you can see it there. Should be able to see it right there, One More Light. It's from 2017. Sadly, this would be the late Chester Bennington's last Linkin Park album because sadly he died tragically. In case a little kid watching this, one of their parents can look it up online or let them know what he died of because it was pretty sad and tragic. He was only about 41, I think, if I'm correct, if I can remember properly, which is really young to die. So it's pretty sad. He was a great singer and screamer and just frontman for the band. And I as a big fan of the band, I really, really would love it if they could get a new lead singer screamer that is just as good as Chester. That would be great. I don't want to see him become like what happened with Nirvana, where once Kurt Cobain passed away, they just disbanded entirely. I want him to be like how when Metallica, they lost Cliff Burton in a tragic bus accident. They found Jason Newsted and they kept going. When Jason Newsted decided to leave the band to do Echo Brain, they found Robert Trujillo and they kept on going, and they've been going ever since. And AC/DC, I'm not the biggest AC/DC fan, but I like how when Bon Scott passed away, they got, when Bon Scott passed away, they got Brian Johnson. They kept going. They did Back in Black, which is considered to be like one of their best albums, I think. So I hope that they decide to keep going. I'm pretty sure they're going to, but I'm not 100% sure. And I'm going to go with my next. Now, this one is ranked at number 6, 1,000 Suns. I actually want to talk a little bit more about why I put this at number 7. Basically, this album, Linkin Park, I think of them as being a rock band, and this album really doesn't rock. It barely sounds like rock and roll at all. It feels like I'm listening to, like, I don't know, Maroon 5 or something like that, or something, or it's like, I can't remember what was that guy's name. Adam Levine or something. It literally sounds kind of like that. I mean, these songs are all good songs. It's just, it sounds more like pop than rock. It's like it's very mellow. It sounds more like pop than rock. The first song is Nobody Can Save Me. Then they got Good Goodbye featuring Pusha T and Storm Z. Talking to Myself, Battle Symphony, Invisible, Heavy featuring Kiara, Sorry for Now, Halfway Right, One More Light, and Sharp Edges. When I was listening to this, the first time I ever heard this was maybe about 5 months after Chester Bennington passed, and it sounds kind of like as if he's saying goodbye, like as if like in a way, it's kind of sad. Like the whole, it's not really. I guess me, it's not the most uplifting album, although I know Mike Shinoda, he feels that one of the songs, I think it's I'm trying to see which one it was. It was Heavy featuring Kiara. He feels it's uplifting. I don't know. I don't know. Everybody's different. I don't know. Me, it depends on how you look at it. I don't know. In terms of that song, where it's uplifting or feels kind of like a sad song. Oh no, this album is just. I mean, if you really like pop music and just like the latest pop hits, you might like this album because it's basically a pop album. There's no like real, doesn't really sound like there's any real guitar work at all, or really any drums or nothing, or bass. There just seems like there's barely anything to it. That's kind of why I put it so low. Now this one, A Thousand Suns, the only one that to have a parental advisory sticker on the cover, label on the cover, because they have like a few F bombs here and there, I think, if I can remember. They have songs like the Requiem, The Radiance, Burning in the Skies, Empty Spaces, When They Come For Me, Robot Boy. Uh, okay, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this. Uh, this one right here. I don't know how to. I'm not sure how to pronounce this quite right. Oh wait, no, this one here. So it's just a J. Yeah, the one that starts with a J right there. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. Waiting for the End, Blackout, Wretches and Kings, Wisdom, Justice and Love, Iridescent, Fall, The Catalyst, The Messenger. Songs that I mean, this one here, it's kind of like an electronic rock album. I mean, the reason why I put this one above the latest one is simply because it actually does rock. Because it actually does sound like rock. It's not like metal at all, really. Some songs that I do think are pretty good on this, though, that I remember is. I'm trying to remember. Let me see which one. I remember one of the first times I heard one of these songs on here. It was on the closeout for X Games 16 2010. And I think that one's a pretty good one. I think that might be the Catalyst. I'm pretty sure that's the Catalyst. That one's pretty good. So that might be my favorite one on the album, but it's not great. The Messenger, if I can remember that one, that one's kind of like an acoustic ballad. It just sounds like it sounds kind of like I don't know. Maybe you can compare it to. I'm not really sure exactly if you could compare it to anything really. I was almost thinking like "Mama Said" by James Hetfield of Metallica on Load, because it's just him. It sounds like it's just him solo. Although this is a totally different song. I don't know. I'd maybe rather. I don't know which song I'd rather listen to. I'm not a big fan of country music, so maybe I'd rather listen to this one, but it doesn't really sound that great. I don't know. Moving on here. Now, this is probably going to shock a lot of people, but honestly, I love like every song on this album. I just rank it low because I've just heard these songs so many times. I just rather listen to other songs off other albums by them, and that is Meteora. Now, if you're new to Linkin Park, I would highly suggest checking out either Hybrid Theory or Meteora. Um, those are a couple of their best albums, and I'll go and I'll talk about later ones afterwards. I mean, in a little bit. Other ones. First off, you get Forward. I can't remember what that is. I think that might be a interlude. I can't remember for sure. And Don't Stay. Then Somewhere I Belong. That's a great one. Lying from You. Hit the Floor. Easier to Run. Faint. Figure 9. Breaking the Habit. That is a great song. Breaking a Habit Tonight. On the Do Tour back in 2007, the AST Do Tour, I remember they were showing a little highlight clip of Ryan Sheckler from like '05 and '06, and they had Breaking the Habit on, and that is just a great song, and they had great song choice showing like all his like wins from like '05, '06. Ryan Sheckler. I'm a big fan of skateboarding. I'm not really as into the Do Tour as I used to be. It's just not the same anymore. Like they don't have vert anymore at the moment, and I preferred those park courses that they had from like '07 to like 2010. I thought those were the best park courses. Maybe even '05 and '06 park courses. Personally, then they have From the Inside, Nobody's Listening, Session, and Numb. I remember that. I'm pretty sure I remember that's a really good one. This is just a good album, solid album. Meteora, 2003. I think I remember hearing when this album was getting announced that when it was coming out, I was probably around 10 at the time. I remember seeing, I think it might have been on MTV, I think. Either that or maybe it was on VH1. I remember Linkin Park, they were on live, which was really awesome. And they sounded really good live. It was pretty cool. Not just me, I wasn't just watching it, but also my parents were watching it and they liked it, which was pretty cool. And my dad at the time, he was like 52, 53. And my mom, she was in her 40s at the time. Moving on. Hybrid Theory. This was the first Linkin Park album ever. First Linkin Park album I ever listened to. Paper Cut, One Step Closer with You. Points of Authority. Crawling in my skin. These wounds, they will not heal. Fear is how I fall. Losing. Or something. Great song. I'm just trying to see if I can do my best screaming of that. Run Away. By Myself. In the End. A Place for My Head. That song is on the video game X Games Skateboarding for PlayStation 2. Not the best skateboarding game, I'll admit. But it's on there and it's on the intro where it shows clips of all the skaters featured in the game on there skating, and it just goes great with it. It's just freaking great. Forgotten, then Cure for the Itch, and then Pushing Me Away. One of these, I can't remember. I think it's Cure for the Itch is kind of like an interlude where I think it's like supposed to be at a live concert where a guy says something like, and we have a very special guest for you, Linkin Park. And it's kind of cool to hear like some disc scratching and stuff. Now, these guys are what they call a new metal band, spelled N-U. It was a time where like new metal was like the new thing, like how they had, like there was like early rock and roll, like Elvis Presley and like Little Richard, I think in like the 50s. And like in the '60s, you got bands like Rolling Stones and the Beatles that were coming up, and go later in the '60s, you get bands like I think Deep Purple, The Doors, you get Led Zeppelin, and then it's like Judas Priest technically came around in '69, but they didn't make a name. They didn't get their first album until '74. Rock-a-Rolla. Black Sabbath, they had their first album in 1970, and they were really considered to be the first heavy metal band. Although they don't really sound that much like metal to me, they kind of sound like classic rock, and they sound very similar to Led Zeppelin, and in some ways AC/DC to me. I used to literally get Black Sabbath and AC/DC confused. I think thought that Ozzy Osbourne was part of AC/DC. I think I got confused. I wasn't sure. Then there was like power metal and thrash and stuff, and I mean Judas Priest. They were kind of like power metal, almost thrash. With thrash, you get bands like the Big Four, like Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax. My favorite out of the Big Four, definitely Metallica. Then I'm gonna go with maybe Megadeth, and then maybe I guess I'll go with Anthrax, and then Slayer my least. Slayer, I've heard the least from, and some of the songs from Slayer I really like. I think sound freaking great. But there's some songs I really don't like, and it's just the lyrical content in some of them is just like, oh man, this is just sounds terrible to me personally, um, lyrically. So it just kind of ruins the song, or like they'll have like basically like saying something that I believe is true throughout the song on one song, and then all of a sudden they'll say something that I believe is a big lie at the end of it, or they'll have like a song where they'll tell like a big lie throughout the song, and it's just I'm like, no, I don't, not something I'm really that into listening to too much. I like songs that I like from Slayer. I like Raining Blood. I like if I can remember, I think it's Seasons in the Abyss. That's a great song. And it's like when I hear them, it's like, okay, now they're rocking. It's like, all right, now they're rocking now. It's like heavy, fast, and it's like, whoa, okay. It's kind of like Fight Fire with Fire by Metallica, and like kind of like the Vibe or Battery or something. Like in terms of heaviness, it's like, whoa, okay, here we go. These guys are rocking. I just kind of, I'm not crazy about some of the lyrics and some of the songs and stuff like that. That's kind of why I rank them as low as I do. Just me personally. Anthrax, I like some of their stuff. Like I just kind of recently kind of started getting into them. Like I like I think I like Persistence of Time is my favorite one, and I also really like Among the Living. I like what's it called? Their second album from 1985, Spreading the Disease, is a good one. I haven't heard For All Kings, although I have heard that song Evil Twin. That's a pretty good one. Um, Trying to think. I haven't heard the one Worship Music. I'm not crazy about the pentagrams on there. I wish they would have left that out on the albums. I'm not a big fan. I don't really go for pentagrams. I wish they just would have put something else in there, like maybe like three X's, like how like on A Bottle of Poison they put three X's and they put like a death symbol. That would have been cooler in my opinion, or something like that, or maybe like a sledgehammer or something. I don't know, something else. Just something else would have been better for symbolism, in my opinion, or cooler. Anyway, back to Megadeth. Yeah, them guys. I guess I'll talk a little bit about the big four. Uh, Megadeth. I'm kind of new to them, kind of right now. I like Rust in Peace, but I got to be honest. There's some songs that seem kind of silly to me at times. There's moments on there with like Rattlehead that is just a little silly to me. I also really like I think Symphony of Destruction's good, but I think I would put maybe maybe Peace Sells, but Who's Buying above that. that is just a brutal, heavy album. It's like, holy crud! It's like I'm listening to it, and it's like, wow, like the end of a song. It's like, man, that is heavy. It's kind of like as if every song is like "Fight Fire with Fire" by Metallica, like in terms of heaviness, and like "Ride the Lightning" and "Creeping Death" in terms of heaviness. It's just like and speed and like, man, this is speed metal right here. It's like, wow. And then Metallica I'd put as my favorite. I'm trying to think. I put Slayer. I put Anthrax. Anthrax. I love that song. Bring the Noise. Public Enemy featuring Anthrax. Oh, that is just freaking great. It's like Rage Against the Machine. If you like that song, Bring the Noise, the Anthrax Public Enemy version collaboration, and you want to hear more songs like that, I would seriously check out Rage Against the Machine. I'll check out like Battle of Los Angeles album, as well as just there are the 3 albums, and there's another band called Prophets of Rage, which sounds pretty similar to them as well, I think. And with Metallica, the reason why I rank them, I put them as my favorite out of the big 4, is simply just because I've heard all their stuff, and I'd say maybe it's about 7 out of 10 albums I like from them. There's maybe a few albums that I'm not crazy about. I have a video on here where I said that I like every album. That was about a year ago. There's a few albums that I'm really not crazy about. Mostly Saint Anger. That's what I'm not crazy about. And if you watch my ranking video on that, on Metallica, you'll see my top 9, my ranking of the albums. The only one I didn't rank was Saint Anger, just because I hadn't heard it enough yet. But I've heard enough now, so I ranked that one at number 10. For me, it was just that. I think that was just a rough patch for Metallica. Then there was like the grunge scene in the 90s, and new metal was coming up with bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit, and then of course Linkin Park came along. They formed, I think it was 97, their first album being in 2000. Now I'm going to go back to Linkin Park. Okay, this is my 3rd favorite album, Minutes to Midnight. This is 2007, Wake, Giving Up, I'm suffocating. Tell me what the F is wrong with me. We've all the rest, bleed it out. Shadow of the day, what I've done. That song I remember was on the X Games 13. I remember 2007. It was at, I'm trying to remember, it was during, I think it was right when Skateboard Vert Final ended and Shaun White won gold, and they had showed like this Legends session, and they were going to go to Rally Car, and it said Judgment Day in the bottom corner of the X Games. I remember it said, as Tom Masco was saying, Rally is set to go. We're going to move it from the vert ramp or something. And I don't remember what happened, what they said after that. I had stopped recording after that, thinking I haven't seen that part in a while. So that's a great song. Hands Held High, No More Sorrow. That's a good one. Valentine's Day, on Valentine's Day. In Between, In Pieces, The Little Things Give You Away. That one is about Hurricane Katrina, which happened a couple years earlier. So that one's kind of a controversial song. Now, when I first heard this album, it was about a year and a half ago, and believe it or not, I really didn't like it that much. I would have, like, if I would have done a ranking then, if I had heard all the albums, I probably would have put this one right above in probably sixth place at the time. Because the first time I listened to this, I was kind of bored with it in a way. I wasn't really that into it, or I just didn't feel it rock that much, or it was just I just didn't go for it. It seemed a little mellow to me. But then, like me, about like 5 or 6 months later, or something like that, I had the urge to listen to it again. I'm like, you know what? I want to try that one again. I want to give that one another listen. And I listened to it, and I really liked it, and that's why I put it so high. This was produced by Rick Rubin and Mike Shinoda. Rick Rubin, I believe he's produced an album by Slayer, and he's also produced a Metallica album, Death Magnetic, which was just a year later. Yep, it was 2007. This one here, they changed up their sound a bit. And I'm actually glad they did that because their first two albums sounded almost identical. And as great as those albums are, they sound, with them being almost identical, it's kind of like I got confused about which songs are on which album, even though I'd heard Hybrid Theory many times, because like I had heard a lot of songs from Meteora and Hybrid Theory off the radio a lot years ago. I would get confused which songs are on which one. I literally would get confused. But this one here, it sounds different, and I like that. And it's a good different. Now I put my second favorite. I put Living Things, We Were Not, from 2012. Lost in the echo, I can see through, finally let you go. In my remains, burn it down, down. Wise greed, misery, I'll be gone. Castle of glass, victimized. Roads untraveled, skin to bone, until it breaks. Tinfoil, that right there is basically an interlude, if I can remember correctly, where it literally just sounds like somebody's doing something with tinfoil, like crinkling it or something. And Powerless. Part of the reason why I have this one ranked so high is because, I don't know, I think part of me just, I like hearing stuff that's newer most of the time and stuff that sounds more modern. For the longest time, like I literally didn't listen to hardly any rock for like years. And I just listened to like the latest like hip hop and pop and like rap that would be on like hip hop and like pop radio, whatever. Because like I was really tired of like listening to the rock station. I think because like that's pretty much all I'd listened to since I was like born, probably. I pretty much always had like rock on. I didn't know anything else. Like my parents, they always like my dad. He didn't understand rap, and he would just be like, "Rap is not music." He's like, "I don't know what it is." It's like fast talking with attitude, he thought. And my mom felt the same way until many years later, like around maybe 07, 08, where she started listening to like rap and hip hop on like the pop station. I'm like, "Mom, you know this is rap, right?" And she's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is rap. This is considered rap." She's like, "Wow, I like rap. I still don't consider it music though," or something. She said because like it wasn't. I guess because it wasn't singing. But I think she wouldn't consider screaming music either so much. Or I think like she actually. I think my mom kind of liked Linkin Park in a way. I have a feeling she probably totally forgot that she liked it, though. She actually passed away about 8 months ago, believe it or not, on February 5th of 2019 of stomach and liver cancer that she had been battling for about a year. I'm doing okay, though. I got the house to myself now, so that's one good thing. That's one good way to look at it. And my favorite one right here is The Hunting Party from 2014. Keys to the Kingdom, that's a great one. All for Nothing featuring Paige Hamilton. Guilty All the Same featuring Raheem. I love that song. That is just a great song. Rakim does an excellent job rapping in that. In the middle of that, it's just fantastic. I think it's just like, well, then the Summoning, War, Wastelands, Until It's Gone, Rebellion, featuring Darren Malakian. I'm pretty sure he's from System of a Down, if correcting me if I'm wrong. Mark the Graves, Drawbar, featuring Tom Morello. Tom Morello, he's from Audioslave, as well as Rage Against the Machine, and I believe Prophets of Rage, which sounds a lot like Rage Against the Machine. Then there's a Final Masquerade, and then A Line in the Sand. This is produced by Mike Shinoda and Brad Delson, mixed by Andy Wallace. When Linkin Park comes back with another album, which I really hope they do, I really hope that they look at like this album for example, and try to progress their sound based on this. In a way, in my opinion, is kind of what I like to see. Like, I kind of feel like when they did their 2012 album, Living Things, it kind of went back to like the beginning, like their first two albums, but it progressed the sound or changed it a bit, while still keeping maybe sort of a similar feel to like their 07 and 2010 albums, but like progressed on it. And I was just looking at some messages I have on my YouTube right now. Yeah, so yeah, and this is out by Warner Brothers Records. Yeah, it's just I just think this is a great album. I like rap mixed with metal. That's just the best way to listen to rap, in my opinion, is when it's mixed with metal and hard rock. Like if you listen to this with Mike Shinoda rapping, I like hearing different kinds of vocals. This you get singing, screaming, and rapping. Fantastic. 3 different kinds of vocals. I just think that's pretty cool to hear. And that's pretty much, I guess, what I think of Linkin Park. If you're a fan of Linkin Park and you want to hear something that, if you're a big fan of Linkin Park, maybe you're a fan of rap and hip hop, maybe you're not, but maybe you just want to hear something, sort of some new material from somebody from them, I would check out Mike Shinoda's Post Traumatic. That right there, it's a rap and hip hop album, basically, where it's Mike Shinoda rapping and singing, and it's pretty darn good. And it's all like basically a lot of the album. It's kind of like he's like venting like his frustration about how he feels about Chester Bennington's death and everything. And it's a good album. I'd recommend it. Is it like the best rap album ever made? I doubt it. I think I've probably heard better rap albums, probably. Although I'm not too big into rap. I like a little bit of rap, like a little bit like Run DMC's 1984 album. I think is kind of cool. But I don't know, a lot of rap. When it comes to albums, when it comes to rap albums, there's a lot of times where like when they have rapping and singing combined, it just doesn't sound that good to me. It sounds kind of weak. It's like, nah, this is just weak to me. It is how I feel. I like stuff that's energetic and fast and heavy and stuff like that, and like has like power to it. And it's like, it's like me, you listen to like a speech or something, and it's like it's really like intriguing or something, or music. I guess I like music that really makes you want to move, makes you want to get stuff done. I guess it's kind of what I like, and I like stuff that's kind of new within the last like 20 years. I guess I'm not a fan of grunge. It's just like the style of vocals, like I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of country either, but it's possible. I think I'd rather hear country than grunge. That's how much I don't like grunge at all. And I would rather listen to like hip hop and pop over grunge probably almost any day, I think. Probably. Exception of a few songs here and there, like Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. That's a great song. Or I Stand Alone by Godsmack. That's a good one. But like I can only take so much of it. I can't take grunge vocals. So I'm not really that interested in the 90s 2000 material for Anthrax because I know a lot of it's grunge style and the vocals, so I'm not that interested. So I don't know if I'll ever check those out. I'm like I've heard like one or two songs from that time with I think his name is John Bush, and I'm just like I just it's not my style. Well, I guess I'll end it here. Uh, See ya.